Good evening and welcome back to Allergic to Stupidity. I hope everybody had a good day. It is the 9th, and in 2 days it's Remembrance Day. And Remembrance Day has always and will always hold a very special spot in my heart for multiple reasons. One, my dad fought in the war. My uncles fought in the war. My grandfather fought in World War One. He lost a couple of brothers to World War One. My nephew joined the forces. I started to join the forces and then had a family emergency and couldn't. And I find that in this day and age, we're forgetting. It's so long ago. Like 1944, which was almost the end of the war, was 80 years ago. And for my students that I work with, so we're talking 12, 13, 14-year-olds, it's great-grandpa. Or it's great-great-grandpa. And it becomes unreal and not something tangible that they can believe in or they can touch. And as the world is getting upside down and backwards, badly, these days, between the war in the Ukraine and the war in Gaza, neither one of them look like they're stopping soon. They're on the verge of bringing the rest of the world in with them. This is a time when we can take a pittance of time. It's a song from a Nova Scotia gentleman. He wrote it years and years and years ago. You really should go on YouTube and look it up. It's called Pittance of Time. And it's a beautiful song. And it's written from the heart because he did want to join the forces, but because he's legally blind, he can't join the forces. He couldn't join the forces. And I had multiple things I was going to talk about tonight. There's always lots of things to talk about in this channel. But this one article I hit from the CBC is about a 104-year-old Yukon woman who looks back on life and love during the wartime. And I thought this would just be really nice to read that article and make us all pause and think. Yeah, life is tough right now, but it's not the first time life has been tough on civilization or the country, and we've all just pulled up our socks and taken care of it. And if I say the lady's name I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but Juanita Johnson is marking her 104th birthday this weekend and remembering her late husband, a World War II vet. Looking back on her long life, she is sure of one thing: kindness is the key. That goes without saying, Johnson said from her home in Whistler Bend Place continuing care facility in Whitehorse, where this weekend she is celebrating 104 years. She came of age during the Second World War, and it was time that changed the course of her life, she said. It had a lot to do with where you end up and what you end up doing and who you meet. But over her decades and through numerous adversities, Johnson has learned to adapt to change. Her only daughter, Linda, said she's grateful to still have her mother in good health and to learn from her experience, particularly navigating difficulties. How our earlier generations managed to get through hard times, because we're going through tough times now, and it's scary. But they already have done that, said Linda. So when I talk to her, she gives me that sense, it's like the Queen and her family always says, you just have to keep calm and carry on, and then things will get better. And we do need to look to the future with positive hope. The rest goes on about her story. But I really like that theme. I really like the idea that said earlier generations have managed to get through hard times because we're going through tough times now, and they're scary. And I thought, yeah, we're all going through that right now. It's scary, it's terrifying. There's a cost of living crisis. We don't know what's going on down south. We know there's wars in the Ukraine. We know there's wars in the Gaza. We don't see any end to either one of those wars, and it's terrifying. We're scared for ourselves. We're scared for our children who will they ever be able to own a house? Will they ever be able to feel secure in being able to live? You can tell this one's close to home. And it's terrifying. But the woman's right. My tablet just flinged out. Our earlier generations managed to get through hard times because we're going through tough times now, and it's scary. So while my parents lived on the East Coast and the dirty 30s were not as bad for those on the East Coast because they were already subsistence farmers already. They were going out and catching cod. They were growing root vegetables. They were going out picking blueberries and preserving. That was just a way of life for them in the Gaspé. So for them, when the Depression hit, it wasn't a big deal. It was a little big deal. There wasn't as much money around, but it wasn't as bad as my in-laws who grew up here down in southern Ontario, and all of a sudden everything vanished. And moms and dads were having to stretch the penny, just like we did, like we are now. And yet they made it through. And kindness is the key. So my thought for today is our ancestors, our previous generations survived. We can too. No matter what's coming in front of us, no matter what's going to happen around the corner, no matter which way down south goes, and they're already screaming, come on guys, just got to be helpful. We can make this, we can do this. And to quote the good old British thing, keep calm and carry on. It doesn't mean that my British friends don't have a good cry and a good cup of tea to deal with the stress. But there's we can't magically press a button and make it better. So let's just keep working on it and we'll get to the other side. So that's my message for today. Second half of the message is from somebody who very much, like I said, Remembrance Day is very, very important to me. Please make a point of getting to the cenotaph. Please make a point of pausing. I'm an adamant believer that Remembrance Day should be a stat holiday in this country. It used to be when I was a little girl. It should be again. We need to make it so it's important again, because we are losing young people in confrontations now, and they need to be remembered just as much as our good old 100-year-old and 95-year-old vets that are they try very hard to march at my cenotaph, but they do it. They're out there doing it. We need to remember, and we need to take that time and be grateful that these people gave up their lives one way, shape, or form so that we can have that hope. So there you go. Take care. Have a good night. Have a cuppa and talk to somebody. And remember our vets, and remember that our previous generations went through, and we're just going, what goes around comes around kind of thing. We can make it. We just need to keep calm, focus on what needs to be done, and carry on. You take care and have a really good day. Bye-bye.